Larry O'Connor alongside Brian Wilson.
And joining us on the phone right now is Ed Gillespie, former RNC chairman, currently the Republican State Leadership Committee chairman emeritus in the state of Virginia. Hello, Ed. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Brian. I'm well, thanks.
We want to talk to you about Virginia politics in just a moment, but of course the big news is what happened last night on that stage in California. 11 of the top candidates there duking it out. We've been talking about it endlessly this morning, and even though I know you have a long association with the Bushes, I'd like to know what you thought about it last night.
I thought it was great. I thought both the debates were actually very informative, very substantive, great opportunity for candidates to for us to see their strengths and their weaknesses, and I thought it was a good night for the Republican Party and for our entire field.
Yeah, listen, I mean, we were talking about, Larry and I were talking about it early this morning, about how, really, it's very impressive. I mean, across the board, there's 5-6 people there easily could be president of the United States. But who do you think won the debate?
Well, I'd put it this way. I mean, I think a couple of folks had some very good nights. I don't want to discount the undercard, the so-called undercard, the earlier debate, and I thought Lindsey Graham pretty much dominated that debate and had a good night there. When you look at the outsiders, I would characterize, the unelected officials. It seems to me that Carly Fiorina had a very, very strong night last night, and clearly demonstrated that that CNN was right to include her in the debate. When you look at the senators, I thought Ted Cruz had a good night. I thought Marco Rubio had another good debate, as I thought he did in the first debate. And for the governors, I thought that Governor Christie helped himself last night. And I thought that Bush and Walker, probably helped himself a little bit as well in trying to get back into the hunt after a rough summer.
Well, as a former chairman of the RNC, that, of course, makes you an establishment Republican. So given that, I mean, listen, over 50% of the Republicans polled right now want an outsider. So if you think Carly Fiorina won among that group, that means that she had the biggest night, wouldn't you say?
I think it's possible we'll see movement in her numbers in the polls, and you're right in terms of there is a great deal of demand amongst Republicans for something different, shake things up, very understandable reasons, immense frustration with what's going on in Washington, D.C. today, in a sense that it's just not working and we need to try something different. And if you look at the Trump, Carson, and Fiorina numbers, they're right now a majority in the polls, and they could go higher than, I think they're about 53%, conceivably they can go higher, or there can be some shifting among them.
Right.
And I suspect that Carly Fiorina may be the beneficiary of any shifting after last evening.
Our guest is Ed Gillespie, and let's talk about, instead of Washington, D.C. politics, how about Washington, D.C. adjacent? Of course, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and you're trying to turn Virginia red. It's looked pretty blue recently. You know that, unfortunately, because of your narrow miss for the Senate this last time around. What's happening on the election coming up for the State House in Richmond? Not the State House, but for the Assembly and for the Senate.
Well, we've got critically important elections here in about, I guess, 48 days, if I'm not mistaken. Could be, but somewhere in that neighborhood. And we have the Virginia General Assembly up, and in fact, we have the state Senate, very much in play. We have a 21-19 majority on the Republican side. I'd like to see us keep that majority, and the group I'm working with, the Republican State Leadership Committee, I'm past chairman of it and still involved. We have just put $250,000 into 3 of the critically important state Senate races. They're all important, but these 3 are, really at the heart of control of the state Senate. We've also put $100,000 into state House races, in particular in support of candidates who meet the criteria of the Future Majority Project that I launched when I was chairman a few cycles ago. I'm optimistic, and I think when you look at candidates like Hal Parrish, who is running for an open seat that's currently held by a Democrat who's very well known and respected and liked as the mayor of Manassas. I think he's going to do very well in Manassas, Prince William County. You look at candidates that we supported, the RSLC, like Danny Vargas and Sang Yi, Chong Win up here in Northern Virginia running for House of Delegates. I think they're all going to win as well. And so I'm very optimistic that we're going to hold it. But it's going to be a dogfight. And as you know, the governor, Terry McAuliffe, is a very accomplished fundraiser on his side. Not sure he's been a great governor, but he's been a great fundraiser, and so they're going to have a lot of resources on the Democratic side to try and take back control of the Virginia State Senate. We've got to fend that off.
And it is a real battle because every time I read something about the Commonwealth of Virginia and the demographics and the changing nature of the state, if you just look at the demographics, it's a real battle to keep it in the Republicans in charge in the state legislature.
Well, we have to do better on the Republican side with voters who, historically and traditionally don't vote Republican. And one of the points of the Future Majority Project is that, we want to help elect people to the State House and State Senate around the country and around the Commonwealth who more closely reflect the voters that we seek to serve. And that's why you see someone like Sang Yi, who's Korean American, Chong Win, a Vietnamese American, Danny Vargas, Hispanic American, American of Hispanic descent, getting support from the RSLC as well as women as well. Our Right Women Right Now program helps to recruit and elect women to State House and Senate and lieutenant governorships and secretaries of state all around the country and around Virginia. I think we have one state senator who's a woman in our caucus now in Richmond, Jill Vogel, and I think that next year there will be 4.
Wow. Ed Gillespie is our guest, and listen, if you can succeed in growing that majority in the Senate and protecting current seats and also growing the majority in the House of Delegates and protecting current seats, you're going to be a very popular man in the Commonwealth of Virginia, especially in the Republican Party. At what point are you going to make the decision as to whether you run for governor?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the question, Larry. I'm, happy to be helping other people get elected right now. We need to keep a check on Terry McAuliffe for his last 2 years in office, that's for sure, and having a Republican state Senate will help us to do that. And then next year we've got, obviously, the presidential election, and in my view, there is no path to the White House for a Republican nominee that does not include Virginia in the red column. It's hard for me to see a Republican getting elected president and getting 270 electoral college votes if the Democrat carries Virginia. So that will be my focus next year. And, any good Republican in the Commonwealth of Virginia right now is focused on our state Senate and House as well, but we've got a very big majority there, as you know. But keeping control of the General Assembly this year, carrying Virginia for our nominee next year, and then you've got 17 to think about the governorship, and there's plenty of time.
All right.
Ed Gillespie, it's always a pleasure. Have you ever seen an election cycle like this one?
Me, it's been no, I have not.
It's been a weird one.
There really is no comparison.
All right, Ed. Thank you so much. Good to have you.
And thanks for the correction.
Thanks for having me on.
General Assembly in Virginia, House of Delegates in Maryland. I always get those two mixed up. Thank you. Well,
Well,
why can't they just be consistent?
Because it's a commonwealth.
Yes.